My name is Matthew Spoke. I'm the founder of the Aion project.
Great. And what is Aion?
Aion is a protocol we've been developing to solve challenges of on-chain scaling and cross-chain interoperability. So it's a blockchain protocol, the first version of which we just launched live 2 weeks ago. And the roadmap is, we still got a couple of years in front of us in terms of getting it completely feature complete. But it's primarily focused on those two aspects.
Great. It seems like interoperability is one of these things that maybe it's not a huge problem now, but in the future when we have many more blockchains, that is going to be this challenge that this whole new ecosystem is going to be around. And I guess there's a question of whether there's going to be this one master interoperable system that's going to solve all those problems, or whether there are going to be many different connectors. So how do you envision it, and what role will Aion play?
We see Aion playing kind of that kind of connecting fabric between the very large number of really interesting designs and innovations of different blockchains and other decentralized systems that are being built. I think many of which will find a use and a niche in the market, right? And some of them will be really broadly used, and some of them will be a lot more specifically used. But I do anticipate that there's going to be more than one final protocol at the end of all this. So, the purpose behind the Aion design was to make sure that we can start connecting the dots between these various aspects. You're right. I think mainstream adoption behind these things is probably years out at least. But this is also a multi-year infrastructure project. So, we wanted to start putting the groundwork down to make sure that by the time the market's ready to adopt, we've built the technology that's ready for them to adopt. And that's not just an effort at Aion. I think that's an effort that the entire industry needs to stay focused on. Is infrastructure has yet to be evolved to a point where we can really kind of open our gates to the rest of the world. Right now, we're just simply not ready. So, if we have 2 to 3 years of kind of peace and quiet just to put our heads down and focus on engineering, we're totally happy with that.
That's great. You just want to do your hard work and see the result. So I heard you mention something about an alliance with OneChain and EDCON.
Yeah.
So can you tell me more about that?
Sure. Yeah. This is a group we formed late last year called the Blockchain Interoperability Alliance. It's those 3 projects, as you said, us, EDCON, and OneChain. We've been, for now, focusing on just kind of knowledge sharing, and it's just kind of an open forum for our engineers to feel comfortable talking about what we're working on and how we're approaching problems, hopefully to accelerate our individual roadmaps, and eventually maybe to start to lay the framework for what standardization will look like in the future. But I think we're far too early to start talking about standardization, because it really has to follow adoption, and I think there's a lot of different approaches on how to solve for interoperability. So right now, it's just observing each other testing ideas and having a friendly environment for us to not look at each other as competitors, but rather, start from a perspective of collaboration before we get there.
Getting the work done together.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Thank you for speaking here at EDCON. And
thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Take care.